of our challenge, which starts tomorrow, our minimum wage challenge. We'll talk more about that, but I want to first introduce Father Matthews, Jim Matthews, who is the priest at St. Lucy's. He's just going to do a prayer and speak about the poor and what that means and what he has done. So, Father Matthews.
Here, Father.
Well, the bottom line of what we're talking about right here is, I guess I'd ask the question, what do you think Jesus would do? What do you think Jesus would be saying right now? You think he'd be opposing the $15 minimum wage? Do you think that's his gospel?
No, not at all.
You think the gospel message would be $15 for people that really need it? Anyone who's opposed to the $15 minimum wage really should come over to our auditorium during the week and see the people that are taken care of via food, clothing, whatever else they need. These are people that would be the direct beneficiaries of the money. I think anyone that runs a household would realize that you can't have a good home when you're working 2 and 3 jobs simply to pay your bills. So, on behalf of St. Lucy's, I welcome you, and I ask God to bless your efforts in bringing dignity to our people here in the near West Side. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Father.
you, Father.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Father Matthews, one of our stellar people in our community. The challenge, as you know, is we want people to live next week, Monday through Friday, on minimum $97 for the week, and that would cover everything: transportation, food, everything they need for that week. There could be all kinds of expenses that they have to meet. We want to demonstrate how difficult it is for people to live on that, because we hear so often that, you know, that's a lot of money, we're raising it from $9 to $15. You know, why are we doing that? Well, we're doing that because if people want to lead some sort of decent life, they need that. It's not something that they're going to lead this extravagant lifestyle because they're making $15 an hour. They're going to be able to feed their families, clothe their kids. They're going to be able to do things. They're not going to need welfare or food stamps. They don't want that stuff. They don't want to be on the dole. They want to live with their heads held up high. And that's what we're fighting for.
That's right.
Is Helen Hudson here? Yes, she is. I want to introduce one of the favorite people I know, one of the great common councilors in the city, Helen Hudson. Helen, please come up and speak.
Hey, Helen! All right, let's go to Helen.
I just think that we all need to just take a step back, because the folks that's opposing the minimum wage of $15, they haven't had to live on that wage. I was one of the minimum wage workers, raising a son, running a household, and it's a little tough when you have to make a decision to feed your kid or pay your bills. And for $15 an hour, that's $32,000 a year. And $32,000 a year for a family of 4 is still poverty.
That's right.
So when we start talking about poverty, and remember, we are in the focus for the country. We have been recognized as the highest concentrated area of poverty. So we all need to start thinking a little bit better, because if you raise people's living standards, it goes back into the economy. So while everybody's screaming and crying and saying how it's going to hurt business, you can't have it both ways. We scream about the welfare system. We talk about people living on welfare. Well, if you take people off of welfare and give them a $15 minimum wage to be able to support their families, think of what the savings we have there. So we need to start thinking a little clearly, and we need to start thinking about what's going to be best for our community. And in order, talk about the poverty, talk about the financial straits, all of this will help all of that. So we need to really just put everything in one big circle and understand it all works hand in hand. So we need to get together, we need to bring our community up to a certain standard, and I believe we'll all live at a decent standard in this community. Thank you.
Hey, Helen!
I think you have the press. I just want to make sure you have your list of people who are doing our challenge. We've given that packet out, right, Mark?
Yes. If you
All right,
don't
we've
have it,
given
send
that
me.
packet out. So look for those names, and maybe some of the people here will talk to you. And we have one of our workers who is a driver for Pace, and Carlita Adamy. She will speak like she did at the church so movingly on the 5th of February. So, Carlita, please.
Hey, Carlita!
All right.
Let's hear it for Carlita.
My son Logan.
Hey, all right.
I was asked to come and talk again about what $15 would mean to me and my family and those that are like me, living in poverty and, you know, struggling day to day to pay our bills, to get food for our children, make sure our children have decent clothing and shoes to wear to school. It's all that and then some. I mean, I was living, we had just moved, I couldn't get NIMO on. They wouldn't get me in the house. I was taking baths out of the stuff. So were my children, my husband Mason, and I'm like, we can't pay our bills, you know, we can't, it's pay your bill or buy dinner for the week, you know. It's very sad when you work your whole life and you want to show your children how to live and how to live a better life than you are, and you can't even do that because you can't make it. So $15 would mean so much to my family and to all my coworkers who are definitely not making $15 an hour, and anyone who's only making minimum wage. That $15 will go so far. We can help each other out and our local vendors and everything to make more money. So that's all.
Thank you, Carlita.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlita.
Good job. Thank you.
You know, Senator DeFrancisco had a press conference in which he had some people, small business people, some not-for-profit groups talking about how they can't afford the minimum wage. But I was shocked by the fact that he didn't have any low-wage workers. He didn't have anybody there who could speak about how difficult it is to live on below that $15 an hour living wage like Carlita. Nobody there would speak for those people, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people in New York State who are having a hard time just making a living. Who are having a hard time leading a decent life for their kids, buying clothing, buying food, doing all those things. Where the heck was John DeFrancisco when those people were speaking out? Nowhere to be found. He talks about the difficulties. Well, John, you certainly don't have any difficulties with your salary and your pension, even though you're not retired yet. You're not having any difficulties leading the good life. We want you to see how it is for those people who need to live a decent life on what they should be getting. And as Helen said, we're not talking about an extraordinary amount of money for the year. We're talking about enough for these people to lead some somewhat of a decent life. So we want to thank Assemblyman Magnarelli, Sturpey, Pam Hunter, and State Senator Valesky, who support the $15 minimum wage.
Hear, hear. Let's hear it.
Thank you.
And please call John DeFrancisco. Send him a letter, whatever you want.
Point over there.
The number is there. We have the number on the back. So please do that and let him know that we are very unhappy with him not supporting this $15 an hour minimum wage. They've done it in San Francisco. They've done it in Seattle. They've done it in San Jose. And people say, well, those are different cities than Syracuse. Sure as hell they are. It's more expensive to live in San Francisco and Seattle and San Jose. Not as expensive to live in Syracuse. So we can afford our $15 an hour minimum wage. I also want to mention that we're having a bus trip to Albany on the 15th of March. I have cards here. If you want to come, just pick one up and sign up. And you can catch a bus at parking at the Washington Street garage, and then catch the bus at 250 South Clinton Street, right in front of the SCIU, 1199 SCIU office. I want to thank you all for coming. If the press wants to stay around and want to ask anybody any questions, please see us, see Carlita, see some of the other people here to answer any kind of questions. So thank you all for coming, and let's keep up the fight, okay?
There we go. Thank everybody.